Hey, Kay.
All right, man.
Yo,
We're
we're back to our
musical chairs, right?
yeah.
Back and forth. You're the constant.
I try to be, bro. I try to be. What's shaking, man?
Man, everything's all right, man. Just feels like 2023 never ended. It's just gone. It's just changed a number, that's all.
It is wild. I think that is the older you get, like we've talked about it a bunch, right? The older you get, the faster time moves.
Yeah,
And I feel like it's just more of the same.
basically.
It's always an adjustment to get like start writing the new year and shit, but that hasn't felt so difficult for me this year. But I agree with you. Like it just feels like one long, like 2023 part two, not like a new year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, pretty much. So I know you had a topic today.
I have a couple
College. All right,
topics.
let's hear
I
them.
have a couple topics. Actually, before we get into college, because there's a lot going on there. But did you hear the news about the airplane that got that was taken essentially emergency landed
Yeah, yep.
because somebody was farting in the plane?
I did see I did see a headline. I didn't read up on it, but I saw a headline about it. Yeah.
Shout out to Rec. He talked about it on his podcast. Get the fuck out of here. GTFOH, I think is how you say it. Anyway, so check that out because he talks a lot about like wild shit. But this one was funny. All his shit is funny, but this one in particular was funny because probably people are gonna kill me because everybody farts. Let's just put that out there,
Right.
right? In your household, not you specifically, but you, the listener, I'm sure there's some jokes around farts. There's all sorts of shit going on, right? And in my home, same deal. And it's always funny to me how it's like the battle of the sexes when it comes to the farts, right? And so that article was hilarious because I'm always clowning people in my house about that. I get clowned about it, and I've passed that article around, and I think it was in People magazine that they talked about. It was like a flight from like Arizona to some other nearby state, and I was like spreading it around, and the first reaction obviously is the laughter when people
Right.
started to understand what it was, and then it was kind of like this self assessment that quickly followed. And I'm the one that as soon as I see them going into that thinking mode, I'm like, yeah, I'm talking to you. Yeah, I'm talking to you. So, but I thought it was ridiculous, right? Like, yo, people fart everywhere, but they landed a plane as a result. And I could only put myself in that situation and be like, yo, because we're a family of five. So when we book a flight, pretty much take up the whole two sides of the row of the aisle.
Man,
And I'm like,
that's got to be a that's got to be tough traveling with five people.
we got it
Not
down
only
to a
is it
science.
expensive,
Yeah,
but
we
shit.
have it down to a science now.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I was just thinking, yo, what if that was us, bro? Because we'll let loose sometimes, you know what I'm saying? And then you're the reason why the plane was
Right.
taken back down to the airport.
Well,
I don't know.
it's like when you have younger kids or whatever, and it's like you never want to be that family that's the kids throwing up or
Or
wilding
being
out.
annoying.
Yeah, yeah. So that's just on
Nah,
another level. But yeah,
not it. My son and my youngest daughter, for a period, they would throw up on flights.
what the?
Yeah. And so even to this day, like we make sure, yo, let's get the vomit bag. Like if it's not in the seat, we're like, excuse
Hmm.
me, can you get us, just in case. But what's cool was, I guess,
Do they
cool.
get nerd? Do they remember it and hold on to it and be like every flight they're like, oh shit, I hope I don't throw up, or they're just on to the
Nah,
next? That's good.
nah. On to the next. My son was the worst offender. Like he would do it pretty regularly on flights,
Hmm.
but it was kind of just like, ah, all right, back to the regularly scheduled program.
Was it takeoff? Was it midway or
It would either be takeoff or landing,
okay,
typically.
got it.
Yeah, something. And then we found out after like he suffers from migraines that there's
Right,
some
right, right.
combinations of things like not having enough rest and eating certain things and whatever would help create more of a situation.
Got it.
So, but yeah, but now flying with five is it's daunting because getting through security, like
Yeah.
everybody trying to be marching to the same drum and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff just to make it to wherever you're trying to go is a challenge. But our kids, we kind of drill sergeant them, to get to that point, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And what kills it though is like I'll do TSA pre-check, and then they give me the opportunity to take my kids.
Right.
My wife's been slow to get that set up, and
Oh,
she got to
really?
go.
Oh,
She got to go
man.
a long way.
Come on now.
So
That's
shit.
mandatory, man.
But you know what's funny? Like I get the look. Like, why don't you just come with me
Right.
on the law? I'm like, because I did what I had to do. I've been telling you for years. Like, yo, let's do
Yeah.
this shit.
Yeah.
And so my kids look at her like disappointed. Like, damn, man, you should have done this because you need to be over here with
Right.
us.
Right.
But yeah, they just know now. Like, yo, no bullshit, right? Like, yo, when we say get up, get up. We say go sit in this seat, that seat, and that seat. Just go do what you got to do, and then we sort it all out afterward. But it's pretty chill.
No, that's good.
Um, have do you have travel? Like, you weren't traveling recently, were you? Like, you're traveling
Yeah.
smooth as hell when it's the three of y'all, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's it. My son's a good traveler,
He
and
doesn't have
so
no. He doesn't throw up. He doesn't have any of those like no attacks or anything like
nah,
nerves.
he gets a little. Depending on the day, you might catch him, and he gets a little. He'll get a little nervous about it.
Mm.
Um, I think there was one time. It was only one time that, and this was years ago, that we got off a plane, and it was like a longer, like a international flight. We got off, and then he felt like he was gonna get sick. But this was the very, like right getting off the plane.
Got it.
He kind of held on to that for a minute when it was time to fly again. Like, I hope I don't get sick. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And then for the most part, he's pretty smooth with it. So
that's good. And he doesn't
yeah,
wild out. Like he's very like
nah, he's
chill.
yeah, nah, he knows what he knows how to get in and out.
So college.
Yeah. So you got your eldest, right?
Yeah, she's a junior in high school, and we've been so. If you ask me, I don't know, 3 months ago, she was dead set on going to college to study sports medicine,
Okay.
and we were like, cool,
Right. And you guys went
great.
on some tours and all that good stuff.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
visited some colleges, not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily for well, those schools, yeah, those schools had some semblance of a program like it. So
Okay.
that was kind of the main one she was thinking about. But since jump, I've been telling her, and we've been talking about college since she was a freshman in high school. Me telling her, yo, listen, high school's gonna go really fast.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to put pressure on you, but you should start to get a feel for the type of campus you might like, and even if we just go and just watch a game or whatever, just so you could get a sense of what the college atmosphere at that particular school feels like.
Let me ask you
And
this real quick.
yeah,
I don't want to deviate, but what would you and your wife, I mean, what would you say if your daughter turned around and said, you know what? I don't want to go to college. I want to start a business, or I want to work for a while, or if she was into something and very kind of like set on it, like I want to go to a trade school.
yeah.
How would you guys
Uh,
react to that?
my first reaction would be like I would clap it up. Um, we she's a really hard worker when it comes to
Hmm.
school. She finds like academics to be super important, and she's
Yeah.
an athlete as well. So she's an honor roll student, and she's probably one of the better players on her team. Now her team is not like amazing, but
Right.
they're relatively competitive. Um, so she does do well working hard, and she we always we have to work kind of different than I think a lot of parents, where we have to do our best to never come across like we're pushing her to do better in school.
Got it.
So it's kind of the opposite of what I think a lot of parents go through. And so we are really chill with her about whatever she wants to do as far as the future holds. And we try to help her understand that college is not the only option. because it's so easy to focus on that as the only option when everybody around you, that's what they're talking about, thinking about, all
Hmm.
that shit. Um, I've always been an advocate for college because of my personal experience. And for me, it was a huge learning around independence. I grew socially when I was away from home and had to kind of fend for myself and figure out a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And I said this to the administration at the University of Massachusetts. I was dead ass serious too. They at that school provided so many extracurricular opportunities for you to develop, right? Student organizations, even campus jobs, all these different things. And I took advantage of a lot of them. I was like heading up some of the
Hmm.
organizations, and they allocate budget for you to determine like what
Right.
things you're going to do with that for the student body. And I went to the administration. I was like, yo, listen, I really want y'all to consider giving students a kind of a dual degree if they're involved in these clubs, because the real world knowledge that you get, like trying to manage a budget, and
Right.
in my case, I was in the entertainment space, so booking acts and all these things, super valuable. You learn a lot, and like easily something that will translate into pretty much anything you do. So we don't push her.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the experience, but I don't want my experience is not necessarily going to be hers.
Yeah.
And so we really try to open up the opportunities that we see and ask her a bunch of different questions to kind of get a feel for what direction she might be headed, to then help her see better what that direction looks like.
Got it. No, that's cool.
So I
So
wish
I derailed your initial,
nah nah
but
nah
I was just curious.
it's related.
Okay.
Um, so she's a junior. We're in the midst now of like it's getting more serious, right? Like applications are coming up, and I think it's like October, November of this year. Um, you're you got to really like start with prep, like the testing. Even though I learned today because I was on a call about what happens next after high
Hmm.
school.
Yeah.
They don't call it, which I thought was interesting. They didn't title the call uh like anything related to college. They basically said post high school whatever, because similar to what we just talked about, there's many options, right? You can go to
Yeah.
trade school, you can become an entrepreneur, you can take a
Hmm.
gap year. There's a
Yeah.
bunch of shit.
Yeah.
So my daughter's so she wanted to do sports medicine. That's what she was thinking about, and now she pulled back on that. So what that's done is it's made the focus disappear on what schools to focus on, and now like it's a whole wide world, and that's scary
Hmm.
for her,
Yeah.
right? It's frustrating for us, but we can't necessarily like be frustrated with her. So we're trying to figure out different ways to help her identify, even if it's like remotely interesting, things that she can use as a filter for her to narrow down kind of what opportunity she's seriously interested in.
Well, does she want to be away from home or does she want to be close to home?
She don't know.
Oh shit. Okay.
Like it's
So,
it's that vague.
hmm.
She so we've been to like she's been to about four, uh without us and with us combined. And she really liked this one school, and then now she's like, it's not really all that. Not
Hmm.
not because some other school took the place of it, more so just because she had time to think, and she's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So she's like, well, I want the school to not be the entire city. I mean, you know how a lot of the schools, state schools in particular,
Right.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
there's nothing around, but the school is it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm like, damn, girl, you kind of
Then
real
then you
close.
got to go to a city school
Right. And
space.
I'm
Yeah.
like, so
Yeah.
you want to go like NYU, go check that out? She's like, yeah, that was just like a bunch of concrete jungle type. And I was like, exactly.
Shit. Okay.
So, and what I can't come to find out is this is very normal. It wasn't my experience, but this is very normal. And so we're trying to navigate how to be supportive, how to provide her with the assistance she needs to try to help her make her own decision with basically a blank canvas as our tool, which is really difficult because she doesn't know what she wants to do. She doesn't know where she wants to go. She knows she wants to go to college.
Is there a city or a state, or like if she has to go vacation somewhere, she's like, I wanna go to Miami. I want to go here
That
or wherever.
that's another thing. Like Florida was hot on the mind because we're in a cold place. So she was like, ah, no, I'm dying to get out of the cold. But then when she starts to understand like the dynamics of the education system in Florida and how that compares to the Northeast, and she sees some things that don't necessarily interest her. Like she looks at Florida schools as party schools, and I'm like, that's not fair. Like I get
Mm,
why, and
yeah,
for the most part, there's a lot of that, but you gotta like filter that because it's your choice if you're gonna go party or if you're gonna go
right,
be academic, right? Anyway, there's just a lot going on when it comes to that, and I'm always and like, we're not even talking about how to pay for it yet.
right.
Like we're not even there yet. So there's just a whole bunch to consider, and I didn't think we were going to be in a situation where she had no idea where she what she wanted to do or where she wanted to go.
Sounds like a lot of overthinking. That's gonna make it
Yeah,
hard to make a decision.
it's a lot of like 1 hour random conversations with her
Mm,
that can easily turn into us attacking her to make a decision.
right, yeah.
But we're being very careful not
Not
to,
the not the pressure.
because this I get it. Like it's a lot to think about. And then I don't help because I'm like, yeah, it took me like 12 years to pay off my college.
Right.
So
Are you guys are you how are you handling that? Are you guys helping, or are you having her take loans out and do it herself, or a combo? Haven't figured it out yet.
probably, I mean, we're gonna do as much as we can to cover the cost.
Yeah.
But I've also, and I don't think this is the right, don't do this, parents. Learn from my mistakes. I, in an effort to open her eyes to the possibility or to what reality is for a lot of people, I talked about loans early.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, here's how loans work. Here's what you can expect if you're going to go to college. And you might be paying these for 5, 10, 20, 30 years. Right. And I put fear in her
Mm,
because of that.
yeah.
So I don't recommend that. But yeah, our goal is to pay it as it goes and not have her worry about anything. But
Yeah.
depending on what school she decides to go to and what those circumstances are, like we may have to tap into some loans and figure it out.
What's the New York system like?
The SUNY State
Yeah.
University of New York,
Yeah. What's their,
like cost wise or quality of schools.
not necessarily quality, but aren't there some schools where it's, I mean, nothing's ever cheap, but
Yeah,
you know,
they're better priced than for sure than private schools.
yeah.
Um, and for the most part, I'd say the system has they kind of tier them actually. I forget what they call them, but there's like the diamond tier of the SUNY schools, and then there's like a second and third tier. The higher up you are, the more competitive it is. But yeah, they're formidable places. Through this process with her, even like no name colleges, or I wouldn't say no name. That's not
Or
fair.
what if she says she don't know what to do, but she wants to do something. So what if she said, Dad, I'm gonna go to the local community college for half a
2 years.
year or whatever, or a year just to so I can figure this out.
Yeah, I wish you would say that. Like that
Okay.
was an option that we floated her.
Okay. Yeah.
We were like, yo, look, if your worst case scenario, your backup plan is down the street at the community college.
Right.
But again, like the stigma, I don't know what the kids talk about, but that is like bootleg in her mind. And I'm like, yo, like, don't think about things like that. Like, this is just
Yeah. Putting
use it as a
putting a
stepping stone.
label, putting everything in a box.
Yeah. And I'm
Yeah.
clowning her about that all the time too, because she does think in a box. Like, I'm like, yo, the world is bigger. You
Yeah.
gotta be more creative. But we expect a lot out of our kids, and we talked about this before. No matter what the age is, for a lot of them, if they're talking to you in a certain way that feels like a peer, kind of default to treating them like a peer.
Yeah.
And so in the same way, it's like, of course she's not gonna know. Like that, she hasn't had that life experience. She doesn't know what how this dot connects to that dot and how those decisions matter or don't, right? So we're not stressing about it, but it's a curveball that we weren't expecting. We thought she knew, like, I want to do this. And then that, even I told her from jump, yo, you could pick this thing that you want to major in today. And by the time you graduate, I'm almost certain it'll change. But
You,
at least you
you,
had an idea.
talking about those life experiences, and so it's funny because like when you do talk to kids as peers, or if you offer up different suggestions or ideas, or you try to explain something, that 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 response of I know or I know, they really don't know.
Yeah.
That shit gets to be frustrating after a while because like you really don't know, but you're
No.
saying I know.
Yeah, I think there's a difference, right? I was taking a personal development course this week, and the guy mentioned that exact phrase. I think he kind of framed it as like the worst possible thing somebody could say, because it essentially means
Shut up. Shut the fuck
right,
up.
exactly,
Right.
exactly, exactly, or shut up, I don't give a fuck, move
Right.
on, right?
Yeah.
But you don't really understand what's happening and how significant it might be. But yeah, as parents, we hear that shit a lot. Your son's
Yeah.
not thinking about. I mean, your son's fucking in. He's in junior high, right?
Middle school.
Middle school. Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
whatever.
Same shit.
Yeah,
Uh, no, he's already thinking about,
college.
yeah, he's like,
All right.
should I go to a college that's close to you guys or should I go far away or,
So in his mind, it's already uh he's going to college. It's just in
it flips around sometimes. Sometimes like, well, or do I want to start a bit? He starts just kind of randomly talking about it. But then on the flip side, it'd be like, we saw my mom not too long ago, and like she's got like thumb college is thumbs down in her opinion these days, and she thinks there's a lot of brainwashing and things like that going
mm,
on.
mm.
And so she planted that seed with him. So she's like, well, she doesn't think college is good. I'm like, oh, she's look, it's like everyone's got, a different path and different experiences but, you know,
Yeah.
whatever
What do
you
you think?
do,
What's your
uh,
take, or you and your wife?
yeah, I think the take is similar to you in terms of he's still too young to really know like what makes him tick and the passion points, and he still hasn't like zeroed in on he hasn't latched on to certain things of like, all right, this is what I'm going to obsess over, or this is a path for me.
Yeah.
So I think it's still, still too young. Definitely don't want him to slack, for lack of a better term. You know what I mean? Like you can be confused, but you still got to be doing something.
Something.
Yeah.
And by the way, like when I was growing up, trade schools were like that's where the kids that you know didn't have a brain almost is kind of what it felt like would end up. And
See, I
I'm not
think
saying like
they get a
I'm
bad they get a bad rap
they get
because
a
I
bad
mean,
rap.
if you think about like the things that you when you talk to young folks and the things that they aspire to, and this is all general conversation, generally speaking, but there's
Yeah.
too much of I want to be in entertainment, I want to be in sports, I want to do, the shit that, 99% of people aren't going to be doing, you know what I
Right.
mean? And the idea of being an electrician or a plumber or all the things that consistently communities need, no one wants to do it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And that's a shame.
It is, man. And it's such a need. Like I'm just thinking about right now. Like I want to redo my basement. And what do you need to redo? I can't do that shit. I don't know the first thing. I wish. Like I actually looked at a trade school nearby and I was like, yo, if I was to do electrician, like what does that look like? It's a lot of work. The cost to me didn't seem crazy, but the work you have to put in, then you got to climb the ladder essentially so you get a certain level of experience for you to even be able to do your own house, right? So but it's such a great skill, and you can take that anywhere. Even for your own personal, like let's say you never worked as an electrician in your life, commercially, right? But
Yeah.
your house is going to be impeccable.
Yeah. I just think there's a lack of respect or, maybe you think you're going to get clowned because you want to have a trade, right?
Yeah.
As a job. So,
I remember my father, he would say that to me, like, "Oh, I don't know. It don't look like you going to college because I can't afford it. You better go to a trade school." I was
right.
like, "What the fuck are we talking about, dog? Don't you see on Saved by the Bell they going to college? I'm going to college."
Right. But what people don't, you think, okay, maybe I'm going to trade school and then you're going to just end up working but that teaches you, like, anyone who's got a skill can make their own business. This is basically what it boils down to. Whatever you're skilled at. So if you go to a trade school, doesn't mean you're getting a job for a company as an electrician. You could start your own
Right. Yeah.
company, So we're just in I don't know, we live in a world where it's just so misconstrued in terms of like the opportunities and the things that young folks could do and should be doing.
Yeah. And worst case scenario, it's a stepping stone toward that entertainment career or
Right.
whatever that aspiration, or a backup plan in case that doesn't pan out.
Right.
Because when you go to Hollywood, someplace like Hollywood, a lot of them are servers at restaurants, and
Mm-hmm.
those gigs do not compare when you're talking about plumber,
Right.
electrician, server. Not the same ballpark.
Yeah. So
All right. Well,
anyway,
parents, don't poo poo trades. Okay. I think that's the moral of today's story.
yeah, we need everyone to be learning and doing all sorts of different things out here.
Yeah. And if you got any tips for a father that has a child that's approaching college and doesn't have a fucking clue what they want to do, hit us up in the DM at Fatherhood Pod on Instagram, and I would be appreciative. All right.
All right, man.
Fatherhood's out.
Later.